New for 2025, ATI have just launched a brand new range of ultra-compact electric water heaters, also known as the ATI Mini Boiler. They're designed for marine and other harsh environments, where they're perfect for small yachts, ribs, runabouts, workboats and superyacht tenders. On land, they're ideal for go-anywhere motorhomes, small horseboxes and commercial applications. As they're small enough to fit into campervans, you can now enjoy a hot water shower at the beach without taking up too much space. They come in 3 sizes with a capacity of 3, 4.5 or 6 litres. You can choose between 4 different power sources, which are 12 or 24 volt DC or 230 volt or 110 volt AC. A 3 litre 12 volt version here in the Penguin showroom, so we can now run a simple test. The battery, the pump and the mixer are ready, so we're going to run a few drops in the bucket just to prime the pump, and then we'll drop some more into a container into which we've placed a digital thermometer. As you can see, the wiring has been temporarily uncovered to help you see what's going on, but you'll need to make sure that all the wires are safely covered and that the fuses and wiring are correct for your own application. Walking around the main elements of the system, we start with the power source, in this case a battery. This is wired into a fuse holder. You need to make sure the fuses are suitable, but we'll come back to this later. Next we have the temperature controller, which is supplied with the mini boiler. This is the tank itself, again with the cover temporarily removed, so you can see the top of the element and the wiring connections. Below this we have the accumulator, the water pump and a makeshift water tank. Tank to which we've connected a typical 2.1 bar water pump. It will raise the water pressure in the system to 2.1 bar and then turn itself off, turning on again when the pressure drops. We then have the cold water coming out of the pump. This tees off and up to the cold feed on the mixer tap. Turn the lever on the tap in the cold direction and you'll get cold water only. Next it goes into the accumulator. This pressure vessel will maintain an even water pressure and so prevent the pump from constantly switching on and off. It will also absorb the additional volume of water when it heats and expands, and that will protect your connections from leaking or worse. The accumulator has been fitted with a non-return valve, which will prevent the hot water from running into the cold. On the opposite side, the blue pipe is connected to the cold water feed on the mini boiler. It enters through this pressure relief valve, which will protect the tank should the system become overpressurized for any reason. The hot water exits here. Just below it here is the heating element. It's important to install a hot outlet at the top. This will make sure the element is always covered with water and will allow any air to escape. The probe for the temperature sensor is located here and is connected to the controller. On the controller, there is a temperature setting dial that lets you adjust the maximum temperature between 30 and 60 degrees. As well as allowing you to set your preferred temperature, it contains a fail-safe device that will automatically shut the whole system down if the temperature gets above 83 degrees. The hot water is delivered up to the hot water input of the mixer, where you set the temperature by adjusting the handle in the normal way. Running back through the electrics, this is a 12 volt lithium battery. The red cable runs from the positive terminal on the battery to the fuse board, through the 30 amp fuse, down to the control system, through the control system and down to the positive terminal on the heating element. The black negative runs from the battery, on and off the bus bar and onto the other terminal of the heating element. The positive is then controlled here within the control system by this temperature sensing probe. The red temperature light on the controller will glow red when the boiler is heating up and will go out when the correct temperature has been reached. The other wiring here is for the pump, which has a 5 amp fuse, and for the control system, which has a 1 amp fuse. Again, make sure the fuses that you use are correct for your own installation. As we mentioned earlier, the accumulator helps to maintain a consistent pressure to stop the pump rapidly switching on and off. The accumulator on this setup is on the hot side of the water circuit. On cold, without the aid of the accumulator, you can see the pulsing. On hot, with the accumulator, the difference is obvious. The belt and braces solution is to have 2 accumulators, one each side of the non-return valve. On the cold side, it will reduce the pulsing. On the hot side, it will protect your pipework against expansion. It will also stop warm water from entering the cold water circuit, with possible risks of contamination. That said, a great many boats are built without a non-return valve and only one accumulator in the system. Whichever way you decide to go, make sure you fit one on the hot side as a minimum. The red light or controller will switch itself off. We'll drop the heated water into the pot with a thermometer and check the temperature again. Let's give you some idea of real-world heating times and power usage. This is a 3-litre calorifier. To get the temperature up to 37 degrees, which is a normal shower temperature, it took just 16 minutes and 7 amps. To get to 45 degrees, it took 20 minutes and used 9 amps. If you have a 100 horsepower outboard, which typically has an alternator running at around 120 amps, you'd only need 3.5 minutes of running time to replace the amps used to heat the water. A typical 20 horsepower diesel with a 60 amp alternator will need about 7 minutes. If you have a boat with a 10 horsepower outboard and a 12 amp alternator, it will take around 35 minutes. If you're used to conserving water on a boat or motorhome, it's surprising just how far 3 litres can go, especially with a water-saving trigger showerhead like this. If, however, you need more hot water, we have larger units of 4.5 or 6 litres. They're the same narrow diameter, so they can fit in tight spots against a bulkhead, under a seat or below the floor. We've worked with ATI for a long time and we're really pleased to be representing this great new range of products. If you need anything answered, just give us a call or send us an email and we're always happy to help.